Investing seems like something reserved for the sophisticated and wealthy, but in reality, everyone can benefit from it. In this Unit Trust series, we help you understand the basics of investing and hope to provide you with the confidence to start your journey. You can invest in Unit Trust for almost all your financial goals, from saving for long-term needs to meeting your short-term objectives. We are now joined by Etienne le Roux, who leads the local retail agenda of Allan in Namibia. Good afternoon, good day to you. Etienne, thank you very much for joining us.
Good day, Maurice. Thank you for having me.
Now, Etienne, before we really get into it, I really just want to find out, what is your story? Who are you? Where are you from? What do you do? Why even finance?
Yeah. As mentioned in an interview with one of your colleagues a couple of months ago, it's really not about me.
Right.
So maybe if you don't mind, I'll tell you a bit about the company, Allan Gray. And it's the largest independently owned company in South Africa, investment firm in South Africa, and it was started by a man called Allan Gray. So it's not just a name, it's actually a human being behind that. And when Dr. Gray came back from America, where he was working at that stage, he found that there were improvements in the investment sort of arena in South Africa to be made, and that's when he started what was then called the Allan Gray Investment Council.
Right.
And so for close to 48 years, we've been looking after the hard-earned money of investors in South Africa, but we also have a presence in Namibia and Botswana, also Eswatini, and then of course through our sister company Orbis across the globe. As for myself, I've been in Namibia for 12 years now. And
You're Namibian now?
Well, I am. I do qualify for citizenship.
Right.
I might just take it up. And it's love that brought me here.
Now, Etienne, I understand that Allan Gray has a host of services and products that you guys offer, but the series is on unit trusts. So let's talk about that. What exactly is a unit trust?
Yeah, I think in South Africa it's called collective investment schemes, and the word collective might indicate that this is look at it as a basket of investments. So that's the easiest way that for me to understand this always.
Right.
So you have this basket, and inside this basket are different asset classes like shares, cash, bonds, listed property, for instance. And we as an asset manager, that is our work to decide what goes into that basket. For the individual, this makes it a lot easier to invest. So the individual don't need to go out to market and decide what shares are the best, what bonds are available and priced correctly, etc. So it's really a convenient way to get a diversified portfolio of investments.
Now, Etienne, when you explain to us what a unit trust is, certain terms did come through. Asset classes, bonds, baskets, a lot of these terms did come through. How does Allan Gray assist people that walk in understanding these concepts?
Yeah, no, great question, and thanks for asking that. I think there's always an expectation when people, come to our office or phone into our client service center that they will get all the answers they want. Unfortunately, as asset managers, we are not permitted to give financial advice. So what we can give is factual information. Sometimes it's not enough for the client's expectation, but yes, we try to take as much time as necessary for clients to make an informed decision without stepping across that line of advice.
Right. So I've walked into Allan Gray. I've asked the question on what investment vehicle is best for me, and I decide unit trusts are for me. I understand the terms. Talk to us about the mechanics thereof, things like fixed monthly premiums and also the terms that are associated to unit trusts.
Yeah. So I think it's important to understand that between South Africa and Namibia there might be very close to 2,000 different unit trusts to select from, so it's really quite overwhelming. So I can only speak for Allan Gray in this instance because different companies have different rules. But it's quite easy. We've got what we call investment minimums, and there are basically two options, or maybe three, whereby you can invest on a monthly basis or a once-off, i.e. a lump sum, or a combination of the two. If you want to follow the monthly debit order route, there's a minimum monthly contribution of 500 Namibia dollar. Or if you want to go the lump sum route, 20,000. If you want to do the combination, the same minimums apply. But it's quite easy, really, So, and it's not like, for instance, going to a bank where you say, okay, I would like to do a fixed term investment of 36 months or 54 months. It's really up to you how long you invest for. I think the most important thing is to just stick to your strategy that you've decided upon. Life does happen, but it's most important is to try and stay invested as long as possible.
And these terms are discussed then when I do meet a consultant, and I then decide which of the terms would be best for me.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think one of the big things, if you do need access to your money, it's always available. It's always on 24 hours notice. And there are no transaction fees and penalties payable for our products.
Now, if why should I consider, or why should one really consider unit trust as an investment vehicle? Why that one specifically?
Yeah, I think it's the diversification, really. So you might have heard the saying that you shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket, right? So unit trusts are actually fantastic vehicles whereby you can have a diversified portfolio, i.e., you instead of just owning a property, you could now also own shares, and you can also participate in the benefits of, say, government bonds, etc. So it's really this diversification aspect that is a big benefit, of investing in unit trust. And some of the unit trusts out there only have shares in them, others have only bonds, and some have then a combination. That is what we offer here at Allan Gray Namibia are two so-called multi-asset investment funds. And as I said, the great thing is you get that diversification without having the worry to decide what you should buy and what you shouldn't buy. Here you get the investment expertise of a whole team of analysts and portfolio managers that try and look for the best assets out there.
Now, Etienne, I must say, there is a bit of a aversion to people in the financial sector, and how almost a coldness that comes from them. People also almost a very mistrust and distrust to them. In terms of a personal touch, talk to us a bit about that. So by investing in unit trusts, isn't it, or can I consider it being or getting a more of a personal wealth manager for myself?
I think there are two points that I would like to touch on. The first is we will almost in all circumstances recommend individuals to go and seek the assistance of an independent financial advisor.
Right.
Why? We are the product provider. Obviously, we are biased. So, for that reason, the best thing is to find yourself a reputable independent financial advisor that can recommend not only Allan Gray as part of your investment strategy, but also, the other players out there. So that's the one thing. As for this industry being a bit impersonal, or maybe the people in there, somebody once told me that every client account, or never forget that every client account has got an identity number attached to it. Right. This is real people's money. And at Allan Gray, we certainly remind ourselves of that. You're looking after years of someone's sweat. You've got to respect that. And I think if you go in with that mentality, when you realize these are actual, real human beings' money that we look after, you treat it with a lot more respect and responsibility.
From a practical perspective, does Allan Gray have a preferred wealth managers at your disposal that one can then pursue and then get some products and services through Allan Gray?
Yeah, so I think the majority of financial advisors and brokers have access to Allan Gray's products. We don't have a preferred list.
Yeah.
Some of them, do offer or are linked to insurance companies or are linked to banks.
Right.
We've always preferred or recommended the fully independent financial advisors.
Right.
But as I say, there are very few, I think, financial advisors out there that don't have access to Allan Gray's products.
Okay. We do understand that there is a multitude of unit trusts available, but how would I know which one is for me? What would work for me?
Yeah. I think the most important question to ask yourself is, what is the purpose of your investment? Right. So, I mean, if it's a short-term goal, so say, wanting to go to a sport event abroad,
Right.
a few years from now.
2023 Rugby World Cup.
Absolutely, in France, in France of all places, So maybe you want to save up for that.
Right.
It'll be the unit trust that you select for that purpose will be quite different to the unit trust fund that you select. For instance, if you're saving for a child's education, maybe there's a newborn in the house, and 18 years from now this child needs to go to university, which comes at a great expense.
Right.
So first and foremost, establish what is the purpose of your investment. Find a suitable unit trust with objectives that are aligned to your time horizon and risk appetite. And with risk appetite, you have to be comfortable with the idea that there are fluctuations. You might put in 100 today, and tomorrow it's either 98 or 102 or still 100. So be comfortable with that. And there are unit trusts out there, pretty much out of the 2,000 available,
Right.
that suits every need.
There's so much to unpack, but we will be doing that in our next series or part 2 of this series. There's really I'm definitely going to be making a point to getting more information, because I do want to go watch Namibia play in the 2023 World Cup in France, amongst many other reasons. Etienne, thank you so much for your time for today, and we'll definitely have you back again next week.
Lovely, thank you.
So now, Allan Namibia offers a simple range of unit trusts suitable for different needs. When you choose a unit trust, there is a trade-off, of course, between higher potential return on the one hand and stability and lower risk on the other. But I think we have covered enough this week. We'll get more details next week. In the meantime, visit the Allan website, where you'll find tons of information to flex your financial planning muscle.